The marketplace on Zentara Station, floating amidst the nebula-clouded depths of the Epsilon 13 sector, was a cacophony of sound, light, and the constant hum of technology. Here, aliens from 100 different planets haggled, bargained, and bickered over goods, services, and promises. Some legitimate, some decidedly less so. It was a haven for traders, smugglers, and anyone willing to take advantage of someone else's ignorance. But then, of course, there was Gregor Klein, human, out of place, but not the fool he appeared to be. The first clue that something was amiss came when Gregor set foot into the marketplace, looking wide-eyed at the strange assortment of goods laid out before him. It wasn't the typical tourist awe. No, this was the deliberate gaze of someone who had seen it all before. For most humans, the multi-species bazaar would have been a shocking spectacle. Tentacled merchants with scales, four-armed traders hawking bio-enhanced fruits, and machines with more eyes than sense. But to Gregor, it was just another marketplace. He'd spent years in places far worse, and he was no stranger to a deal. He wasn't in the market for exotic foods or alien trinkets, but when he spotted a stall covered in vibrant, glowing fabrics, his curiosity got the better of him. The fabrics were from Elysium 9, a remote planet renowned for its living silks, which shimmered with their own internal light and changed colors depending on the wearer's mood. "Ah, you have a good eye, human," boomed a voice smooth and low with the peculiar cadence of a kaithu, a species known for their elaborate negotiations. The vendor, a four-armed creature with translucent skin and bioluminescent patterns, smiled widely, revealing rows of tiny, needle-like teeth. "One of your species, I presume," the creature continued, "would appreciate the beauty of this silk. Perhaps a gift for a lady, yes?" Gregor blinked as if trying to digest the situation. "I'm not interested in a gift," he replied, his voice calm but firm. "I'm just looking to browse." "Ah, but you must! These are prized by your kind. No one ever leaves empty-handed from my stall." The kaithu waved a hand, and the silks began to flutter, as if alive, creating an almost hypnotic display. Gregor could not help himself to at least inquire about the price, as he knew the exact value of these silks, and what a good way to test out the vendor. You have my slight attention? What the price?" The alien rubbing his chin in deep thought. "I will give you a good price today, but only for you, my friend. I don't usually offer this price. How about 7,500 Imperial credits?" Gregor paused. "Shit, that is 3 times the average trade price for 2 systems over. I call bullshit on your price, fucker." The alien, taken back by the keen knowledge of the human. "And here I thought we were friends. But perhaps since you are such a discerning individual, I can offer you a special deal." Gregor's interest piqued, though his expression remained guarded. He had been to enough alien markets to know that when someone insisted on a special deal, it meant the price would be jacked up even higher than normal. And if there was one thing Gregor had learned on the streets as a child, it was that the best deals were often the ones not taken. "I'm good, you slimy bastard," Gregor said, beginning to walk away. But the vendor, quick as a thought, grabbed his arm with all 4 of his hands. "I insist," the kaithu grinned. "I will give you a price you simply cannot refuse. How about 10 for the price of 1? Gregor frowned and tugged his arm free, slowly turning back to face the creature. "That's generous," he said, his voice dripping with skepticism. "A little too generous." "Ah, but you see, we have a special arrangement with the good people of Elysium 9, the vendor explained smoothly. "These silks are rare, but we have so many, they lose their value. A shame, really. Wouldn't you agree? A simple thing for you, yes, but for me, an opportunity. So I ask, a mere handful of credits, and you will have all the silks you wish." Gregory kept his expression neutral, playing the part of the fool. "Let's see," he murmured, as if considering the deal. "How many silks are we talking about exactly? And what's the price per bundle?" The vendor leaned forward as if about to share a great secret. "Ah, you are wise. Of course, I see that you understand the way of the marketplace. Each silk set, individually spun, should go for 2,000 credits each. But today, for you, I will let them go for only 500 each. A truly remarkable discount. That was laughable. Gregor knew that the real price for Elysium 9 silks was far lower than that, a mere fraction of the figure being thrown around. He also knew that Kai Thu weren't known for honesty, especially in this market. The vendor's smile had faltered, clearly waiting for Gregor to bite. "I've been on these streets a long time, so don't try to fuck me over," Gregor said slowly, his voice now calm but commanding. "And I've heard this pitch 1,000 times. Tell me, how many fools do you think I am? Keep going and I will slap that look right off your face." The vendor's face twitched, though the smile didn't leave completely. "You insult me, human," he said, his tone now colder. "But you will come to appreciate the value of these goods. I am certain." Gregor eyed the silks for a long moment before making his decision. He wasn't about to waste any more of his time here. He gave a subtle nod and began to turn away, knowing exactly what would happen next. "Perhaps a different arrangement?" The Kai Thu's voice was smoother now, as if a new plan had formed. "You may not be interested in fabric, but perhaps you will find value in something more unique." Gregor stopped in his tracks. He had been expecting the usual threats, the "I'll get you next time" kind of bluff. But this was something else. He turned back, eyebrow raised. "Unique, huh? You've piqued my interest playing around with all that bullshit before," he said, now genuinely curious. The vendor's eyes narrowed with an almost predatory glint, and with a flourish he gestured toward a secluded corner of his stall. There, sitting on a silken cushion, was a young female figure, her features soft and exotic, with glowing purple skin, long dark hair, and eyes that seemed to flicker like distant stars. "Behold," the vendor said, "an alien slave girl from the moon of Valve. She is yours, for a mere 20,000 credits." Gregor's mouth went dry. He knew the price was absurd. No one in their right mind would pay that much for a slave, especially not when Gregor could easily buy a dozen from the black market for half the cost. But something about her intrigued him. She sat so still, like a work of art, but with an intensity in her gaze that suggested there was more to her than the position she occupied. Her eyes met his, and for a moment, the rest of the market faded away. Time slowed. She was stunning, but there was something more to her beauty than just appearance. There was a spark of intelligence, of awareness, something no slave should have. Gregor blinked, shaking himself out of his stupor. He had been on the streets too long to fall for something like this, but his curiosity, and perhaps a bit of nostalgia, compelled him to move closer. "You're selling her? Just like that?" Gregor asked, his voice low. "What's the catch?" The Kai Thu grinned wider, his needle teeth flashing. "No catch, simply a generous offer. She is a rare breed, perfect for your needs. And as I said, 200 credits and she is yours." Gregor eyed the woman again, but this time his gaze was different. He wasn't looking at her as just an object. No, something was amiss. He could feel it. The alien slave girl's lips parted slightly as she spoke, her voice soft, almost a whisper. I do not belong here," she said, her eyes locking with his once more. "I was taken from my people. I have waited so long to escape." Gregor's heart skipped a beat. He hadn't expected that. A slave who could talk, who knew her own worth. This was no ordinary deal. "I don't want your money, human," the girl continued, her voice growing firmer. "I want something more. I want revenge." The words hung in the air, and the Kai Thu, despite his best efforts to remain calm, stiffened. His smile faltered, and for the first time, Gregor saw genuine unease in the alien's eyes. "Revenge?" Gregor repeated, his curiosity fully piqued now. "What kind of revenge?" The girl's eyes flashed with a fire that hadn't been there before. "I was taken from my home by the Valve traders, and I have been sold again and again. I am no longer a slave. I am a weapon. I will use my new freedom to take revenge on those who have wronged me, and I will do so with you. Together we can destroy them." Gregor felt a chill run down his spine. This wasn't the story of a broken slave. This was the story of a fighter, someone who had been pushed too far and was now ready to fight back. Her gaze softened, and she smiled faintly. And once we've taken our revenge, I will stay with you. We will go to the pleasure planets. You and I. Gregor didn't say a word for a long time. Finally, he nodded slowly. You've got yourself a deal. Now, how about this offer, you slimy weasel bastard alien? I take the girl for free, and I don't destroy your shop. Then you tell me the location of the slave traders, he said, his voice hardening with resolve, and his hand moving towards his large, oversized blaster pistol. The alien believing every word the human spoke. Well, I can't so no to that. They have a base of operations in the Zionist system. Third moon of a gas giant. That is all I know. And so the two set off to get these bastards and then hopefully get some sweet, sweet action on one of these pleasure planets.